Hello, hope you're doing well today. So today we're going to jump in and go over explosives and which ones are the best for raiding. And the results, they might surprise you. You might think you know, but you might be wrong, you might be right. We'll find out. Alright, so in phase 1, of course, we only have access to a few things. We have the rocket warhead, improved grenade, improved explosive, cocktail, smoke bomb, and shrapnel grenade. Of course, the smoke bomb doesn't do damage, and the improved cocktail only does damage to wooden structures, so this won't damage stone. Let us know in the comments below which one you think is going to do the most damage. And of course, we have the lighter, right? Alright. Let us know which one you think is going to win, and we'll see by the end of the video if your guess was right. Alright, so first up, we're going to run up and we're going to use the improved grenade and check it out and see how much damage it does. Now, of course, at the time of recording this, the only enemy base we could find out was wooden for now, so we're just going to test it on wood, which is fine. We're not looking to see how much damage the grenades do to structures necessarily, we're just looking to see which ones do the most damage. So, whatever this does to wood will still apply to stone. Alright, so even if it does less damage to stone than it's going to do to wood, the percentage-wise will be the same. Alright, so as you can see, the improved grenade wasn't super effective, right? It only did a few hundred damage there. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the improved shrapnel grenade, and we'll see how much damage it does to the wooden structures. Alright, so as you can see, the improved shrapnel grenade does a decent amount of damage to the wooden structure, but notice how much splash damage the shrapnel grenade does to the structures. Alright, that's going to be a key here later in the video. Alright. So now we'll move on to the improved explosives, or what everybody calls C4. This is what everybody believes is going to do the most damage. So if we throw it on the ground here, like this, you can see it doesn't do hardly any damage, and this would lead you to believe it doesn't do that much damage. Well, that's because I threw it on the ground, and it did splash damage to the structure, not direct damage, even though it's right next to the structure. Which is a little off, but okay. I guess because it's a shaped charge, maybe that's how it would work. Realistically, I'm not an explosives expert. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I know how it works in games. Right, but if we put this directly on the structure, we attach it to the structure we want to damage with it. It does 1200 damage to the wooden structure, so it did more than either of the grenades. But if you notice, its splash damage is very low. It doesn't do a lot of splash damage to the structures around where you placed it. Now, if we check out the rocket warhead, alright, we're going to shoot this rocket warhead, and there it goes. It does 700 damage. That's good, not amazing, considering the cost of the rocket warhead. Right? You got to spend Stardust Source and portable mixed fuel and electronic parts. All of those are kind of harder to get. Alright, whereas the improved explosive does a lot more damage, and it just uses rubber, plastic. It still uses electronic parts, and of course mixed explosive, but less. So improved explosive is going to be better than rocket, but of course the rocket can be fired from a distance, maybe keeping you safer while you're breaking into a base. Like maybe that's the trade-off there. I still feel the rocket should do slightly more damage than it does based on its cost, but hey, I don't balance this game, so. Alright, so which one of these explosives is the actual winner? You might think it's improved explosives because it did so much damage. But really, the improved shrapnel grenade didn't do that much less damage than the improved explosive, but it did more area damage than the improved explosive. You would be able to break into structures faster with improved shrapnel grenades. The only problem is the improved shrapnel grenade cost has one of its costs is refined parts. Of course, steel ingots, super cheap, super easy to get. I mean, I farm them like mad just to sell. And everything else is pretty much the same. Instead of rubber, which improved explosives requires, it uses metal scraps, so it's much easier to actually make than an improved explosive would be, because usually rubber is a little bit rarer than the metal scraps. So I would quickly burn through my rubber, making improved explosives. So the key here is refined parts. If you're not getting a lot of refined parts, but you're getting a lot of rubber, go with the improved explosives. It'll get you through individual walls But if you're looking to actually do as much damage to a base as possible, or you want to destroy several securement units, the improved shrapnel grenades can then be even better. And of course, this is going to carry on into the future, right? So when the next phase opens and we get access to the better explosives, right, they're just better versions of what we already have, and therefore the percentage will just go up, but it should stay about the same. But your shrapnel grenades will be the way to go. Improved explosives right after them, depending on how much of every resource you have and which one's actually cheaper to make. Of course, the cheapest one to make, which we haven't shown yet, is the lighter. Unless you consider your acid expensive, an expensive resource. I don't. I can make hundreds of these lighters and have no issue on acid, but I do run a lot of the oil-filled permits. So as you can see, one of the problems with using explosives in this game as we're throwing this lighter is when it lags, it doesn't blow up and you just lost the lighter. So it kind of sucks. So if you throw one and it doesn't blow up, don't just keep throwing them like I did. Just wait a little bit, move on, and come back and throw it and see what happens then. If it blows up, go ahead and start throwing some more. And of course, this is probably the best explosive, at least in phase 1. In phase 2, it may get outshined, but if you get lucky and you start getting really high rolls, because if you know how the lighter works, it can be really low or really high. It can be some of the strongest explosive damage in the game, but you got to get a really high roll when you throw it and get lucky. Then it looks like a nuclear bomb goes off when it gets that high roll. So you can do some massive damage with these, and they're cheap, and you can just chunk them like mad. So worst case is you show up to raids with these if you don't have access, if you can't make the other stuff. Also keep in mind, from midnight to 12 a.m. buildings take 70% less damage, so you'll do even less than what you've seen in this video. Make sure you check out the do's and do nots video. It has a lot of information in there about some of the exploits that are being used right now, and some of the ways you can protect yourself from those exploits, and a couple of building tips to keep your base from being destroyed. Because there's people out there telling you to build a certain way, and that's going to get your base completely wiped super fast, so make sure to check that out. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.